push rod tubes that I had tightened up because they had gotten really loose. They're leaking even worse than they were before. So what I'm going to do is pull these two push rod tubes out and put new leather pieces on the inside that actually is what seal these things up. In order to do that, I'm going to have to pull the valve covers off, and I've got a compression tool to push the valve in so that I can get the push rod out, because it maybe, well, there's so the push rod is actually touching here and up inside the cylinder, so you can't get this out to put new seals in it until you get the push rod itself out of the way. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and hopefully get those two leaks taken care of. Over here on the left engine, we actually had the little dog bone seal that goes in between the drain, in between the cylinders. This guy was leaking really bad, between 7 and 8. So I replaced this yesterday. So that was the only oil leak that we had on the left engine. So hopefully we'll get the right engine closed up today and get the cowling back on so we can go fly later this afternoon. So this is the tool that you use to get the push rod tubes out, and I'll show you how this works. So we've taken the covers off, and you see the little groove here that slides down just like that, and then you just push back on the, I'll do it on this one so you can see it, but then you just push back on the thing, and you can see just pushing on it, you can push the valve in, and then what that does is it releases the rocker arm up in here so that you can push the push rod or the push rod up in there, and then remove it off the bottom. So you pull it out and take the whole piece out. So this is the handy dandy little tool that you use to do that. And so these nuts only come off of one end of this tube, so you have to slide them both off of the same end. But then inside of here you get a leather washer that goes in, and then on top of that you get a rubber grommet. And so what we do is we turn around and take the leather piece, stick it down inside of here, and then take the new piece of rubber and put it back on in there, and then we'll slide this end off, and you'll notice that it has the same thing. Now on the ones that I have done in the past, the one on the bottom side that goes down on the crankcase actually has a smaller piece of leather in it, and it looks like this one's going to be the case too. So just take this and push it out. It's kind of hard to do holding my thumb here, but you can see, in fact, this one almost looks like it's missing the piece of leather that goes in there. I'm gonna put the phone down. So the piece was definitely stuck in there, but you'll notice it's a little bit smaller piece, and this one, actually it is in there, but it's a thinner piece of leather that goes down on this bottom piece. But they seem like they've been shipping thicker ones that go in here, so I'm gonna have to research that a little bit. I guess they are, the rubber pieces are the same, but the leather piece, you can see this is a thicker piece of leather here, and the one here it's so thin that you almost don't even see it inside the piece. So you have to be careful that you put the right pieces back together. And again, I've got to see, well, actually, if you look here in the kit, it has a thinner piece here, I guess, that goes on the bottom side, so it's not even, doesn't look like a piece of leather. It's just a washer or a gasket material. But that goes down on the bottom side. The thicker one goes up on the top side. So then we'll just put all this back together and put it back on the engine. So a couple weeks ago when we come back from Sun and Fun, if y'all remember, we stopped and helped on another Beech 18, an AT11 that had broken down. And they had hired a guy, I can't remember his name, I'll have to put it in the post, but they hired an old timer to come in and help with replacing a cylinder. And I was showing him my tools and stuff, or he was showing me his tools, and he mentioned what this thing did. So I bought this set of tools for the R985, and this thing's been sitting in my box, and I had no idea what it was for, nor did anyone else that was looking at it. And he mentioned what it did, and that's the only reason that I know to use this, and it's extremely handy. I wished I'd have known what it was before. So anyway, that's kind of an interesting story. So you want to always help out the old guys, because there's no telling what you're going to learn. So now I've gotten the washer out of this. It does take this very tiny little gasket that goes down in there. We're going to be putting some fuel lube on this and on the O-ring, the rubber ring that goes in there before we put it back together. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble all of that. If you look, the pipe is straight on the top, and then the bottom has a little bit of a flare, so that's how you make sure you're putting this back in correctly. And so according to the book, we've got you torque the bottom of this thing. So we basically use that tool to push this down, slid the push rod tube up in here, attached it down here, and put the two nuts back on. And now we're tightening up these guys with this other little tool, and then we'll end up torquing it to, I think it's 125 inch-pounds. Torque the bottom, and then you come back and torque the top. So pretty simple, not a big deal. The hardest part is getting the gaskets and stuff off of the valve covers. Now I had somebody on YouTube the other day that evidently used to work on these things, mentioned that if I put the Parker fuel lube, I think it's called Easy Turn now, but if I put that on the gaskets before I put them on, it helps to seal them up, and it also keeps them from sticking to the valve, the cylinder. So I'm going to give that a shot. I did put it inside of, and I normally put it on the O-rings and stuff, but I also put it on the gaskets in here to give that a try too, to see if it keeps it from getting sticky in there. Kind of weird because it is sticky, but we'll see how that goes. Alrighty, we have checked the valve clearances on these guys. We put two new push rod tube gasket sets on the number 1 cylinder. We got the number 2 and the number 9, the exhaust and intake, taken care of. So we'll just, as we go along, we'll keep going around the engine. But right now we're good on these guys, so everything's torqued. These guys are torqued, I may put some safety wire in between these. I haven't decided yet. None of them have been done, but the book says to do it. So we may put some safety wire here, but other than that, everything looks like it's ready to go. So just wipe it down a little bit and we should be able to start working on the cowling tomorrow.